Good morning. All right, so if there's any video I've done that you probably want to watch, I think it's this one because I think some of the things I'm going to cover are going to blow your mind. I know they're blowing my mind right now. So I was looking at why my metals are high and what possibly could be in my life that's exposing me to it. To recap, I've done metal tests in the past and they were unremarkable and my levels were negligible. I then did a provoked test recently, which actually basically adds a chelator and actually does things to stir them up and pull them out. That one was a completely different picture. That one showed I was very high in lead, I was high in cadmium, I was high in barium, I was very high in thallium, and I was high in nickel. Now, of all these, lead and thallium are the worst. Luckily, I wasn't high in mercury, arsenic, or any of the other things that could be a real problem too. So basically, sources. I was looking at, well, okay, so now how am I getting these things? Now, here's what blows my mind. Spinach and kale are some of the highest culprits when it comes to thallium and cadmium too. Spinach has cadmium. I don't actually do a lot of this because they're high in oxalates, but as a datum for you, they are some of the highest in thallium. And thallium is nasty, so I'll explain later what the significance of these things are. But arugula or rocket, depending on where you are, spring mix, romaine, baby greens, cabbage greens, chicory, etc., is very high in thallium. I eat all of those and regularly. I probably have a salad at least 2 or 3 times a week. I love my salads. The other thing that is very high in heavy metals, especially ones that come from India, Sri Lanka, and Nepal, turmeric is high in lead, high in cadmium, high in barium. Triphala which contains amla and some of these other Ayurvedic herbs, which have heavy metals in them. The powders and supplements can often contain lead, cadmium, nickel, thallium, etc. Gachicola, which I have done in the past, it's very good for nerves. It's excellent herb for nerves and stuff. That can be high in lead, cadmium, and nickel and barium. Ashwagandha. Now, I don't do ashwagandha daily, or even I haven't been taking it for a while now, but I have definitely taken it before, and I've had periods where I've taken it daily. That's high in cadmium, lead, arsenic, and nickel. So if you're doing Chinese medicine or Chinese herbs, you could be exposing yourself to high levels of metal. A lot of supplements can be contaminated with high levels of metal and stuff. Here's the other one that blew my mind. Mushrooms are hyperaccumulators. They suck up metals from the soil. I consume chestnut mushrooms almost daily, definitely 3 or 4 times a week at least. Portobello as well. I definitely frequently do shiitake mushrooms. So portobello mushrooms I do at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. Shiitake mushrooms, etc. Mushroom coffee blends and stuff. I don't do a lot of those, but I've had periods of doing them and periods of not doing them. And I've taken mushroom supplements like reishi and all these wonderful mushrooms, turkey tail and stuff. I've definitely done them and I do them. I'm not regular about it, but I do. Now, the thing is these all significantly contribute to cadmium, thallium, nickel, and lead. Like, can significantly account for your lead toxic load, or your metal toxic load. And also, please know on everything I'm saying, if you were exposed 5 years ago, you could still have it because it stays in your system. That's the problem. So, and it accumulates. So over time, you develop this stuff. Another one that blew my mind, spirulina, algae, chlorella. Okay, so this is really crazy because these dark algae greens are actually also good for detox. So it's a bit ironic and a bit of a contradiction that they actually can accumulate. They can actually also expose you to heavy metals. So spirulina and algae commonly contain lead, cadmium, nickel, thallium, and arsenic, and they remain stored in the body for years. Another one that I don't do but is worth mentioning is bentonite clay. It's high in lead, cadmium, barium, nickel, arsenic, and thallium, which is crazy because if you've heard of bentonite clay, a lot of people take it to bind. It's a binder, so they take it to bind toxins and pull them out of their gut. But it's heavy in metals, so talk about defeating its purpose. Dark chocolate, which I already knew, is high in cadmium, lead, and nickel. So even organic. All of this, by the way, organic is a problem. I want to be clear. It's not whether it's organic or not. Organic dark leafy greens, organic kale, organic spinach, organic chocolate, which is all I eat, are high in these things. There's no avoiding it, in other words. Same with mushrooms. I only eat organic. So whether it's organic or even if you get the highest quality and the best quality, you still have the problem of metals. Nuts, which I don't eat a ton of, but I do eat some, contain heavy metals. Now, I actually, fortunately, eat the ones that are lower. So I actually predominantly eat macadamias, which are very low in metals. I eat pecans, which are moderate in nickel, but low in cadmium and lead. I eat walnuts, which are moderate in cadmium, moderate in nickel, and mild in lead. So that my metal source doesn't seem to be nuts, but beware that nuts can contain metals. And the higher ones, like the other ones, like almonds and cashews and peanuts, can be higher in metals. Stainless steel cookware. So I knew this, but we changed out all of our cookware to be stainless steel. Stainless steel is generally the better version, but the problem is if you cook with anything acidic like tomato, vinegar, wine, or whatever, what it can do is it can pull metals when you're cooking. So that can kind of leach metals into your food. But if you use cast iron, you're going to get lots of iron. So no matter what you cook with practically, unless you just cook with glass, you're going to potentially be exposed to metals. So just be aware of that. Other sources that I do not actually have a problem with, or I'm not being exposed highly from, is tea. Tea is black and green tea is very high in cadmium, very high in lead, very high in thallium. Tap water is very high in heavy metals, particularly nickel, barium, and lead, and other things. Tap water is terrible. This is not a major source of contamination for me. We get our water from the biodynamic farm. We're very fortunate to live very close to a biodynamic farm, and we get some of the cleanest water you can get. And on top of it, we have a reverse osmosis water filter. So water exposures definitely doesn't seem to be my problem right now. In the past, yes. When I've traveled, yes. I'm sure I've been exposed to plastics and I'm sure I've been exposed to metals because unfortunately, it's not easy to stick to your routine when you're traveling and stuff. Makeup. So another thing probably not the biggest problem that I have is makeup. So I don't wear foundation. I rarely, I should say, wear foundation. I don't wear it very often, and I don't wear eyeshadow very often at all. If anything, lipstick. So these things all have heavy metals, and I definitely wear lipstick. Most of my life I've worn lipstick. And eyeliner stuff, which is negligible, but still some, and definitely lipstick. Because lipstick has all kinds of problems. You put it on your lips, and then you also inevitably get it into your system. Inevitably, you're going to eat lipstick to some degree. So that can be very problematic. And foundation, of course, because it's like you put a lot of it, you tend to have a lot more exposure when you use foundation, and eyeshadow too. But these things are heavy in metals. Protein powders, plant-based protein powders, pea protein and stuff like that can contain lots of cadmium and lead. All right, so yeah, I hope this has been revealing. I hope that this is getting your wheels to turn because basically pretty much anything you eat and pretty much anything you put on your body and pretty much anything you do, you're going to somehow be exposed to something. So that's kind of the point. Now, thallium, why are these significant? Thallium is very significant for me. So you're going to see why or understand this. because this was very revealing. Hair loss. So I actually have been having massive hair loss for years. You might look at me and go, well, I don't know what she's talking about. Her hair is fine. No, my hair is a fraction of what it used to be. I used to have very thick, gorgeous hair. Like for years, my whole life, never got split ends. My hair was beautiful. And I've had massive hair loss. Luckily, I had a lot of hair, because if I didn't, I'd be bald by now. Like I've had tons of hair come out. You would be shocked how much hair I've lost, because it doesn't really look like it. But believe me, even to this day, my hair is still shedding a lot. And I've been tearing my hair out, no pun intended, trying to figure out why and what's going on. It first started in 2020. That was the first sign that something was wrong. And I thought maybe it was my thyroid, or I didn't know. But it just, even with my thyroid getting better and everything else, it wasn't getting better. And of course, I've tried some of the supplements and stuff. They're just, honestly, yes, you can be low in vitamins and minerals and stuff for sure that can cause hair loss. But these magic supplements, I'm sorry. Fundamentally, the problem is you have to find the why. You have to find the root cause. You have to get to the root cause in these things, because otherwise you're just dumping supplements and other things on top of things, and it's not going to help you. And that's something that is becoming more and more obvious to me. And through the years, it's become obvious. And now, in the last month, with my testing and stuff that I've done, I am such a believer in testing. And I will never, ever, ever do anything without testing first, because now I'm so aware of how much you can just spin your wheels and poke in the dark and try all kinds of things and just be wasting your money and wasting your time if you don't actually take the time and spend the money to get the testing done. Which will tell you exactly what's going on. The other thing that thallium levels, high thallium causes, is autonomic dysfunction. That's me. Tachycardia, low HRV, heat intolerance. That's me. Panic-like episodes. I get those. So like I have episodes where I have not mentally panicked, but physically panicked, like can't breathe, can't get oxygen. And believe it or not, thallium can cause that. So like this first started in 2022. I had an incident come out of nowhere. Like there was no apparent reason for this whatsoever. I was with my husband. We were just about to go to sleep, and like very chill, like nothing was wrong. And suddenly I had this momentary, like, couldn't breathe. I was breathing and I couldn't get oxygen. I freaked out. I was like, I didn't know what was going on. Luckily my husband was there, thank goodness. So he helped just keep me calm and kind of get me through it. But it was terrifying. Like I could not get oxygen. And I've had these come up a little bit. Like I've woken up in the middle of the night with it. And just out of nowhere, for no reason, spontaneously will get an episode where I suddenly feel like I can't breathe. I don't have asthma. I've never had breathing problems. My lungs are perfectly healthy. So this explains a lot. Muscle weakness, that is so me. Insomnia, that has definitely been me, though I've been doing some handlings on my sleep and I'm sleeping much better. My sleep is definitely not perfect yet. Nerve buzzing and singling, I've definitely had that. Severe fatigue, that's me to the letter lately. Okay, so thallium destroys your mitochondria. It disrupts your potassium channels, which causes heart rhythm problems, nerve problems, sleep problems, energy problems, and autonomic balance problems. Matches me to the letter. Lead, the second most highest problem for me. It affects your thyroid conversion, so taking your inactive thyroid hormone and turning it into active usable thyroid, it disrupts that. It causes cortisol problems, that's me. Sleep center problems, that's me. Brain function, autonomic nervous system problems. Symptoms can include anxiety, insomnia, palpitations, low HRV, slow thinking, irritability. Cadmium, another problem. Fatigue, kidney stress, hormonal imbalance, estrogen dominance, irritability, sleep issues. Barium interferes with muscle function, heart rhythm, potassium signaling. Again, all of these metals explain all of my symptoms. Symptoms include weakness, tingling, shortness of breath, another one. So I have two metals working against my breathing. Arrhythmia-like sensations, definitely. Nickel, eye swelling, sinus irritation, I do get that. Gut irritation, I do have that. Headaches, I'm not a headache person, so yeah. All right, so now, what is the handling? So right away, I'm going to stop and back down on turmeric, that's for sure. And back down on, I mean, I'm not taking ashwagandha or the other things anyway, but I'm definitely going to back down on mushrooms. I'm definitely going to back down on the greens and stuff, and turmeric for right now, just while I'm detoxing. I'm also going to rotate my greens. So instead of leaning so much on dark leafy greens, I'm probably going to do more green beans or other vegetables to try to rotate out. Maybe some butter lettuce. They're not as rich in nutrients, but we're gonna have to come to a compromise for right now. This is just while I'm detoxing. Then I'm going to start doing, I'm already doing GI detox and stuff, biocidin GI detox, modified citrus pectin, and other things to pull out glutathione. I've already been doing that to pull out metals and stuff. By the way, another datum for you, magnesium supplements. So you might be listening to all this and going, well, I'm not doing any of that. Magnesium supplements can have high metals. Okay, so there's yes, I take lots of magnesium, obviously, with my situation. So I'm not going to be able to walk off the face of the planet and avoid this, basically. So the thing that this is telling me is we have to actually be aware of the fact that pretty much everything you're exposing yourself to is going to have plastics, metals, or something going on with it, because that's just the nature of the beast right now. And so the thing I've learned from this is you need to actually concentrate on and put attention on or pay attention to regularly detoxing. And I do not mean doing super green drinks, because you're just literally going to dump yourself with the exact problem that you're trying to eliminate. When I say detox, I'm talking about things like GI binders, like charcoal clay, and biocidin GI detox is fabulous. But please be aware when I say that, you need to be trained on what you're doing with these things, because they bind also your electrolytes and stuff. So please don't just jump in and do a bunch of heavy detox on your system without being aware of how to do it properly. Like, work with a professional as needed. The other thing that I do need to say is, when you talk about binders in the gut, that's not going to handle metals in your system. And what happens with metals is they get into your gut, and then they get into your bloodstream, and then they lodge in your tissues, and they lodge in your bone. So my problem, and why the provoked test worked, is because my metals were not in my gut. They were not primarily in my gut. They were primarily in my tissue, my bone, and my blood. So that's why the provoked test showed more and showed significant metal problems. So in that case, things like activated charcoal and GI detox are not going to help you, because those bind in your gut. Now, I'm doing that as well, because I'm doing a full detox. But I'm also taking modified citrus pectin, which actually, because it's been modified, can assimilate into the bloodstream and help pull things out of the body, not just your gut. I'm also taking DMSMA, which is, again, DMSMA and EDTA. These are very, very strong chelators, very strong binders. And you absolutely need to do this when you with knowledge and understanding of what you're doing, and ideally under professional guidance if you aren't yourself trained on this, because again, they can disrupt and pull other things too. But and EDTA in particular is very harsh. So I'm doing DMSMA, which is not as harsh, but still a good binder. So modified citrus pectin and DMSMA to pull stuff out of my bloodstream. You can also do zeolite and other things that help pull things out of the bloodstream. That's more gentle. You can also go get go to a place, a professional practice that does provoked detox or metal rinses, if you will, meaning they pull metals out of your blood. They give you IVs, so it has to be done at a practice. You can't just do it at home. So I'm going to be doing all of this as well. I'm going to be doing sauna. Sauna is another thing you don't have to use a practitioner for. You can go do sauna. I highly recommend it, and I'm definitely going to be doing it. Glutathione is very important. NAC, glutathione. NAC helps your liver produce glutathione, which helps your body to detox. Glutathione in itself helps your liver to detox. These things help bind with bad substances and help your body get rid of them. They're vital to detoxing anything and everything. So very important. And then obviously staying hydrated, keeping your B vitamins, you must keep your B vitamins healthy if you're detoxing, because your body uses a lot of B vitamins to detox. Okay, so yeah, there you go. In a nutshell, we can't really get away from this stuff. Oh, sorry. We can't really get away from this stuff. So the solution to me is, regular detox, and regularly keep an eye on this, and regularly doing things to get rid of it. And I'd have to say, as much as this is horrifying, I'm actually so relieved to finally have some actual root causes to my inflammation and my chronic dysautonomia and chronic stress on my body. And I just, if there's anything I want you to walk away from this video with, is do testing, spend the money. It's going to be expensive. To do a lot of testing is expensive, okay? I think it cost me probably about $6 or $7 grand in total to test everything that I've tested, but it was worth it. Do you know how much money I've spent over the years trying to just outpoint and correct and get a symptom and look it up and try to handle it and just go try to focus in and, tunnel vision on that symptom with whatever supplement, whatever handling for it. Now that I've taken a step out and looked at the broad picture through testing, I have a completely different idea, and I have a much better grip on what's actually causing all these things, not just addressing the problems, if you will. So it has been 100% worth it. And the other thing I really want you to be aware of is, and I want you to take away from this, is detox. Like, do saunas, do binders occasionally. Just have your little routine, like put it into your routine, because I'm willing to bet pretty much everyone watching this video has got some form of toxin going on. And if we just got rid of that, we'd probably handle a lot of problems, if you know what I'm saying. And a lot of the manifestations that are going on are probably just based in heavy metals, mold, plastics, fire retardants. Receipts are poisonous too, by the way. We're being exposed so much to stuff. And I thought maybe it's my hair dye. By the way, henna, especially dark henna, is very high in heavy metals. I looked it up. So it isn't just being natural. It isn't just doing organic. It's everywhere is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, hopefully this video has been informative. It's definitely blown my mind what I found out. I'm still waiting for my results on my mold test and my glyphosate and other. I did another very thorough plastics and toxic burden test. So hopefully it's not as terrifying as this one has been, but I will let you know. It's going to come out on the midweek of December-ish. So I will let you know as soon as I get those results. I will definitely share with you. I'm sharing because you guys have helped me to get here and do all this, and I want to give back, and I want to help other people, and I want to help all of you. And if I can help through my journey, help you heal and help everybody else get better, then that makes me feel really good, and that would make my day and definitely makes it all worth the pain, if you know what I mean. All right, thanks guys.